First Takes Draft Blitz, a preview of the 2021 NFL Draft. Have I ever told you how much I love the draft? One of my favorite sporting events. So we start with the team who won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They own the top overall pick, the 25th selection in the first round. Urban Meyer now leads the team that has only 12 wins over the last 3 seasons. And gentlemen, let me just clean this up here real quick. When we were talking about the Packers, I accidentally said Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I meant Jordan Love. Obviously, it was the same draft, same thing when they did the same deal to Carson Wentz, but more egregious with Aaron Rodgers because it's Aaron Rodgers and it was the first round. Stephen A., do you think their expectations, how high they should be for Trevor Lawrence in year one?
Well, listen, I don't know what to make of this. What I can tell you is that in the interest of full disclosure, I don't give a damn about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've never thought much about them. You win the opening game against the Indianapolis Colts last year, 27-20, and you proceed to lose 15 straight games to end the season. And so I'm looking at it and I'm saying there's nowhere to go but up. Trevor Lawrence, I think that ultimately I view him and I say the potential is there for him to overachieve because guess what? We're looking at him. We know he can ball. We know he can throw the football. He's got good size, great size on him, great arm. The weapons that he's going to have to throw available to him remains to be seen. DJ Chark and Cole and these guys. James Robinson can run the football. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, averaging 4.5 yards per carry last year. And you got Urban Meyer, who I think is one of the great football coaches we've ever seen. And so as a result of that, I'd say if I had to bet my money on Trevor Lawrence, it would be that the high expectations are legitimate primarily because of who his coach is and the fact that he's in a division where right now you look at the Tennessee Titans, sure, but you look at the Houston Texans, they're a mess. The Indianapolis Colts, Carson Wentz is a question mark. We'll see what happens. So I think to some degree he's playing with house money. That's really all I have to say about it.
The expectations for Trevor Lawrence in year one are not as high for me as they are for Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer, to me, is the guy like, okay, now you got an NFL team. I like what they've done so far, Stephen A. They spread the money around in free agency. They have a lot of money to spend. They still have some. Instead of like bringing in stars right away, they had a lot of holes to fill. They just got competent players and brought them in, right? They have a ton of draft capital, too. So I like what I'm seeing, that direction so far. And I think Urban Meyer's the guy like, okay, fine, these aren't college kids, you know? This is a whole different ballgame. Can you succeed in the pros? As far as Trevor Lawrence is concerned, I think by the end of this season, he has to look like a starting quarterback. Year 2 is the development year for a quarterback. By year 3, you got to make the playoffs. And in year 4, you should be advancing in the playoffs, right? Like that was what, when you look at a number 1 overall pick, what the expectations are. Now, Trevor Lawrence is not just a number 1 overall pick. He's considered the best prospect. Remember, prospect doesn't always mean it turns out to be the best quarterback, but the best prospect since Andrew Luck, who took over a team which really was ready to win, except like, you know, with Peyton Manning, they were excellent, and suddenly there's no Peyton Manning, right? Remember back then, sucked for Luck, right? And now you put a competent quarterback back in, and they can have double-digit wins. And Andrew Luck was tremendous. There have been better quarterbacks than Andrew Luck, but he was tremendous right out of the gate. Does Trevor Lawrence have to be that? I don't think so. When I look at the modern game, first of all, there's a direct comparison. He's having a lot of off-the-field problems right now, legal issues. Deshaun Watson, they're very serious. But 2 Clemson quarterbacks, you know, national champions. Deshaun Watson didn't do anything his rookie year. He played in 6 games. He was okay. And then the next year took the step forward. That's a comp. Patrick Mahomes played 1 game his rookie year and then was the best thing I've ever seen by his second year. I think the expectations for Trevor Lawrence should be he's going to get in some games and right away, of course. He's got to look like he's a starter to stay by the end of the season. And then next year, we got to see the development. That's what I'd say the reasonable expectations are for Lawrence. Now, I'd rather compare him to Watson and Mahomes if he's going to have a great future than, say, Baker Mayfield, who's fine, number 1 overall pick and played right away, right? Or Sam Darnold, who just got traded and hasn't worked out so far. I don't think it's so important that he hit the ground running and is great as soon as he's a rookie. I do think it's important that Urban Meyer show right away that he knows what he's doing at this level. And I'd say the early returns are good. 1 win, as you said, Stephen A., what do they have to do? Win 4 or 5 games, and that's a tremendous improvement.
Well, listen, how about not losing 15 straight? That's a good starting point. How about that? that would definitely help. I'm looking at them right now. They brought over Marvin Jones from Detroit. They brought up Philip Dorsett over, from Seattle. I'm just looking at some of these guys that they've got here. Yeah, these are guys that can play. Make no mistake about it. You know what I'm saying? But difference makers, it remains to be seen. I think you're right in pointing out Urban Meyer. He has to have that kind of imprint and impact on the play of Trevor Lawrence. He's got to be healthy. I love his size. I loved his mobility when I saw him in the national championship game against LSU. Obviously, I look at his mobility, even though he didn't, struggled a little bit this season at times compared to what we've seen from him the previous year or so. But we know he's big time, and we know he's worthy of being number one overall. And I think that this is a can't-miss pick. So I expect him to show some promise. But again, the fact that he's coming to a team fresh off a 1-15 season in which you spent your one opening day and then lost 15 straight games, I think anything he gives you is butter. Anything he gives you is a plus, and that's how I view it.
Well, the thing I like about Trevor Lawrence, not only as the first time he gets to start, basically, he looked better than Deshaun Watson did the year before winning the championship, right? He looked amazing, right? That's why that's why we're all so hot. But the way he carved up Alabama was ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. And especially at his age. Now, I wouldn't say his trajectory has matched the early returns, but I did see him even the next year. He'd throw an interception, make a tackle in an open field. He's a really good athlete with a really good arm and a really bright future on a team, Stephen A., that is poised. If they make the right choices right now to be really good, they have a lot of draft capital.
Could you go? Yeah, fine. But could you go back and look at the tape of Deshaun Watson the year Clemson beat Alabama for the national title? Not only that, the year before that when they lost in the national championship.
Yeah, he was even more impressive.
I wouldn't say that Trevor Lawrence looked better than that. And not those two games.
I would say when they beat Alabama, and maybe it's a function of how much better Clemson was, but Trevor Lawrence carved them up. It was not a close game. Maybe that's the entire Clemson team, but that wasn't close. Deshaun Watson it was like a miracle play at the end, and he was amazing. Trevor Lawrence just carved them up.
Yeah, and congrats to Trevor Lawrence, who got married over the weekend. But Stephen A. really likes how he flips his hair. He's actually jealous.
Well, he's gonna have hair commercials. I mean, he's got hair commercials coming out the wazoo. Nobody will have more hair commercials than him. Nobody. Trevor Lawrence will have all the hair commercials. Him and Troy
he better perform, Molly. We're going to be hearing Stephen A. talking about he has more hair commercials than wins. That's next.
Oh, boy. Yes.
You gotta work on you.
For sure.
Work on resonating with your jokes, man. Sometimes it's a little corny.
Oh, my God. All right, guys, 2 weeks from now, the draft. 2 weeks and a couple days, actually. I'm lying to you. All right, fellas. Tomorrow's First Takes Draft Blitz continues with the Jets. Zach Wilson, the savior for the Jets, the one they've been waiting for. Don't miss it Tuesday right here on First Take. Kevin Durant says winning titles, not what motivates him. Should we buy it? How should Brooklyn fans feel about it? Second hour First Take coming up next.